Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to NBL Alumni. This is episode 3, and we are speaking to former Illawarra Hawk and Adelaide 36 at Antonious Cleveland. Antonious, welcome to the episode, mate.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So obviously we're going to talk in previous episodes. I'm not sure if you've seen, we've spoken to Alan Williams and Jordan Crawford. So you are our third guest on the Fox Sports NBL Alumni show. So we're going to go into basically how you got into the league, your time in the NBL, where you've been since, and we'll get some questions from some fans and just some general conversation. So firstly, your feed breaks here. So how are you going to be enjoying your time off?
The best way possible, just doing nothing. Just chilling on the couch, watching some games, watching, highlights and whatnot. But I just love when I don't have to set an alarm, man, and have to get up for anything. So it's the best.
Yeah, nice. And you obviously with not many people would know this, but I try and do my best to keep people updated with former NBL players and stuff. One of your teammates is Casper Ware. So are you going to be doing anything with him during the break, or you guys just separate until you guys have to come back to training?
Casper's a newly dad now. I think his son is about like a few months old. So he's been spending a lot of time with his partner and his newborn. So he's kind of busy. So if I was to do anything, I would have to maybe go to him because you know how it is with a newborn. But for the most part, though, he's been taking care of his responsibilities, and I just kind of just see him at practice for the most part.
No, and you got one child yourself, right?
I have two.
Two, sorry, yeah. And do they live with you, or are they back home?
Not yet. They're gonna come December 17th, and they'll be here for the rest. Yeah. I mean, they'll be here all the way until probably like end of May or June.
Oh wow, that's awesome. All right, we're going to go into our first segment. So this is obviously we're going to look back at your time. You spent 2 seasons in the league. I think for me, I think it's quite rare for someone to come into the league, win back-to-back Defensive Player of the Years, and then just bugger off like nothing happened, which is just crazy. So, but prior, you start with the Hawks first. So let's just go into prior to. I want to make this as organic as possible. So I try not to do too much research into this part. So I want to know leading up to before you signed with the Illawarra Hawks. Did you know much about the NBL or Australia itself? Were you in Australia prior? Was this the first time coming down? So just give us a quick rundown on
that. I knew about Australia because after I graduated from college, I played in one game with Melbourne. We played against the Thunder. Chris Golden had to have like emergency surgery, and they needed a player last minute. So I met Melbourne in Oklahoma City in 2017. And Casper was on that team as well. Casper, Casey Prather, and Josh Boone from UConn. And I played one game with them. And after the game, I spoke with like Dean and the staff, and they was like, "Come on and join. We want blah blah blah." And at that time, I was fixated on the NBA. So I just was like, not right now. I have a deal I'm about to sign and blase. But I always had Australia in the back of my mind. And just when the opportunity came, me and my agent thought, it was, the best decision. But due to that game, I knew about the NBL and I knew about Australia. And I think it was just kind of like setting it up in God's timing for me to make my debut over there a few years later. But that's exactly how I knew by playing in that game.
So you obviously spent the season with Illawarra. I specifically remember a game, and I can't remember, you had something with Scott Roth. I remember you celebrated or something. Remember, like obviously it's all water under the bridge now. It's just two competitive players and coaches celebrating. You finished up with the Illawarra Hawks. You guys, I think you got knocked out by Sydney in the finals that year. When you finished with Illawarra Hawks, was there any expectation? Were you always going to return to the NBL? Obviously you went to Adelaide, but was there a time where you just it was going to be one and done and just move on?
I was always going to return. I don't think you can just do 1 year in Australia. You have to do at least 2.
Can you tell that? Because there's a lot of imports leaving after one season. It's really hard to retain them.
Yeah. Well, this is just my opinion. Australia is just so nice, man. It's like, okay, I definitely, want to do another year. Yeah. So after I finished in Illawarra, I wanted to go back to Illawarra. But on the financial side, I guess they just couldn't. We had a really, really good team, and they just couldn't get it done. So, Adelaide came about, and Adelaide and Sydney came about, and so it just was a perfect opportunity for me to go into my second year and trying to make the decision, and it's pretty dope, man. I got an NBL kind of like one offer, and then I had so many after my first year to really choose from, and it was like a dope experience because Australia is just so nice. It's hard to not pick a great city.
Yeah, and like you played in two pretty good teams with pretty good weather, pretty good cities, so you
Yeah.
lucked out a lot there. And then so you end up signing a 2-year deal with Adelaide 36ers.
hmm
Obviously, you played that season with them. I don't want to compare like what
hmm
team was better, but did you enjoy the city of Adelaide and the team in comparison to Illawarra? Is a bit different.
It was kind of different as far as the personnel, but great teammates on both.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the city of Adelaide more because
yeah,
Illawarra was amazing, but I think it's more of like a community, more like family oriented. Like it was
yeah,
kind of like it was perfect for me. Coming over my first year to be in like I was 2 minutes, 3 minutes from the gym. I could walk. Like everything just was more like boxed in. At least where my location where I lived and where the gym was at. So Adelaide, moving to Adelaide was different. They gave me a brand new apartment on the beach. The city was huge, so much to do. So it just was kind of like a different situation. But like I said, I enjoyed both cities, both teams. But Adelaide really was, a lot more to do in my second year, or at least I did a lot more at that point in my second year in Australia. I was used to being away from home, so I really, really enjoyed both, and I love Adelaide as well as Illawarra, but I really enjoy Adelaide as well.
Now, obviously, you have won back-to-back Defensive Player of the Years.
hmm
Shea Illy's the current reigning. He's won back-to-back for Melbourne United. When you
hmm
won the one with Illawarra, was it your intention that next season too you're going back-to-back and you wanted it again?
Yes, it was my
Of
it
course.
was my
I mean,
intention.
it helps your
Yes.
resume. It's good for you, of course.
hmm
Um, and so then we go on to, I mentioned before, and so I'm trying to give a bit of backstory to people who are not familiar with you. And
Of course.
you signed a 2-year deal with Adelaide, and then the second year you spent the off season with Hapoel Iliad. I'm not even going to try and pronounce them. I'm just going to say Hapoel. So you spent the off season with them, and then you took a deal with Maccabi Tel Aviv instead of
hmm
taking that deal with Adelaide. So can you just go into the decision making around that?
It was more so if it was up to me, I would have returned to Adelaide. But our agents, their job is to, do the best thing for the client. And
Yeah,
I love Adelaide so much and Australia so much that I was almost about to give up a EuroLeague opportunity. And like just to be honest, like that's a no-no. Like you can't do that. And my agents just was like, look. I know you love Australia. I know you love Adelaide, but you have to do this for your career. And if you want to go back to Australia, you go back. You don't turn away one of the best teams in Europe because you want to keep, chilling with your feet in the sand on Australia. Like, as a pro and as a elite player, you take elite
yeah,
jobs. You take the challenge, and he kind of like talked me through it because it was tough, man. Me and my family, I did not want to leave, but he kind of helped see me through it, and I had to, I just had to, make that change. But it came out of left field because I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting to return to Adelaide, and then boom, I got the offer. I think the offer came, man, maybe late July, almost when it was
yeah.
time,
Wow.
Yeah, and it was kind of hurt me, man, because I didn't give Adelaide enough time to, kind of, replace me, kind of, but it's just how it happened. So yeah, that's how it happened really fast, and a EuroLeague team came, and the opportunities that come with that, and that's just how that came about. Mhm.
So after that, you spent a year with Maccabi, and then I remember you signed 2 years with them, and then you left after a season, and then you went on
Mhm.
to the VTB, which is the Russian league, and you signed with
Mhm.
Lokomotiv Kuban. Can you just go into like that transition? So you've gone from Australia to Maccabi Tel Aviv to Lokomotiv. You've gone to
Yeah.
3 different leagues. So how do you transition? How do you work at that transition? And is it quite tough?
The transition to Maccabi was tough because I came from
Yeah,
Adelaide, kind of like being one of the best players, to going to a team with Maccabi, and my role was different. I did a lot of standing in the corner, but defensively everything was the same. But offensively, didn't really play any pick and roll, ball screens. Some possessions I wouldn't touch the ball, but it was kind of like a different situation as far as Europe, and I just had to understand it, and I adjusted pretty quick. So like that's the biggest difference. But Tel Aviv, Israel is an amazing city. Australia was an amazing country. So at that time, I was getting lucky, like going from Australia to Tel Aviv. People dream of that,
Yeah.
those scenarios, and then going into the VTB in Krasnodar. Russia is freezing cold a lot, but the city of Krasnodar is lower on the border and it's close to Turkey. So that's the one city that's not like Russia. Like it's probably 72 degrees every day. While some parts of Russia it's 10 degrees. So I got lucky there. Is also with the weather, and that situation was kind of like my LA situation. I was like one of the best players on that team, and I felt exactly like I was in Adelaide. And now this year I'm in Moscow. It's definitely colder, and my team is great, but it's just colder out of all the cities I've ever been in. It's really freezing cold here, kind of. But as far as basketball, it's kind of like a Maccabi Tel Aviv situation. But my coach, he lets me play shooting guard and point guard, so I get the ball more. But the situation is kind of the same, 19, 20 minutes a game, like kind of low maintenance throughout the regular season. So, but we're number one right now, so if it's anything to win, then I'm fine with it. It works for me.
So let's go to your time with Lokomotiv because I found it extremely fascinating that it got to a point near the end of the season, probably just over midway, where Tajir Makal signed with you guys. And
Uh-huh.
then a lot of NBL fans couldn't believe there were two former Cairns Taipans imports, and then we've got you on the same team. So we had Patrick Miller, Tajir McCall, and Antonious Cleveland on the same team.
Mhm.
What when I hear that, I'm like, that's my dream come true. There's NBL alumni all on
Right.
one roster. Do you share stories when you like of your time in the league?
Yeah, we talked about the NBL a lot. That was crazy how that happened as well. Like I've been playing against Todd since college. When he was in the Cairns, I was in Adelaide and in Illawarra. So when the opportunity came about to sign him, I definitely, threw my 2 cents into ownership and was like, we need this guy. So it was dope to play with him because I was always competing with him. And defensively, he's a great player. It was fun picking his brain throughout, games, and I learned stuff from him. How he attacks defensively, and it definitely was fun playing with him. We shared a lot of stories, a lot of stories about Cans because I think Pat's only year there, I wasn't there. So I heard, his stories, his take on players and whatnot. And they called me. I always have an NBA game on. Like when we come in for lunch or dinner, I'm at the table on my phone because YouTube is so accessible and it's like the best thing
Yeah.
you can, So I kept an NBA game on. I still follow it and I kind of know everything. They kind of called me like the guru because I knew everything there was like what players where, who's about to go here. Like, and it was like, bro, you like Woj the Shams. And I'm like, this like really the only league I follow outside of the Euro League because it's so accessible. I still follow all the pages, so I'm kind of just way more in tune than them, and I kind of share things with them from that standpoint. But they, give me a hard time about. They're like, bro, just go back to the NBL. That's where you want to be. You always watching it, and I'm just like, bro, it's so easy and it's good hoops too, So I really, enjoy, being tapped in like I do, always.
I think a lot of people who live in Australia, like I forget too, that people overseas can literally watch our NBL games on YouTube, like how I would watch, random leagues in Europe just on YouTube and stuff. And it's
Definitely.
very, like you said, very easy accessible. I'm going to
Mhm.
play a quick like it's a 15-second video which just showcases the chemistry between you, Patrick, and Tajir, which I remember seeing that the team posted last season, and I'm just like, the chemistry between you guys is wild. So I'm just going to give you a clip here.
Choose to believe in where you're from. Man's right flower, it's in every living thing. Mind use your power, spirit use your wings.
So watching that, I'm just like, it is so cool. That's just like I just see that as you guys are the poster, the poster for the NBL alumni. You guys looking at like having so much fun. And I followed that season closely because you guys went deep into the playoffs, and I think you went up against in the finals. It was the semifinals or finals, correct? It was against Zenit St. Petersburg.
It was Game 7 semifinals.
Game, yes, because you guys were down like 3-0 at the start, weren't you? And then you
We was
stormed
down
back.
2-0.
Yeah, and then you stormed back. But I think what's more important is that season, to add on to your collection of NBL trophies, you won the Defensive Player of the Year for Russia, which, no disrespect to the NBL, I think is more impressive. I think to do that in the BTB league, all I keep hearing from imports is Russia is a tough league. They are no joke. And watching it is no joke. So congratulations winning that award. Was that I remember speaking to you prior to you winning that award, and you were very obviously keen to get it. You were going up against some strong candidates, and then you won it. So were you not surprised, but obviously you were quite ecstatic when you won the award and they announced it?
Yes, I was not surprised, but I was going up against a Russian player, and I don't know. I felt like I needed to. And the first game one, he had a great game, and he had a couple big steals. So that was kind of in the back of my mind, as I was waiting. But wasn't surprised. They got it right. Shout out to them for getting it right. But it's just always hard when you're going up against local, kind of, because I feel like they kind of got the edge, kind of. But they got it right. Hopefully, I can go back to back again this year. I think I'm like 3 or 4 in steals. I got to get my blocks up, but I'm doing it in less minutes, so. And I'm getting a little older, so it's uphill battle this year. But I think I'll end up getting it again. I got to get my steals up to about 2 a game, and it'll take care of itself.
Now we'll go on to the fact that you say you're getting a little bit older. So you're 31 now. That's in today's basketball and today's modern science and stuff. You're basically 26 still. So let's be real. It's like, and when I say you're 31, I want to play you a clip here, and you need to explain what was going through your head when you did this, because this went around the world, and I shared this across as much as I could because I was in awe of this. So we'll play the clip now.
У Томи. Вдвоем его прессингуют. Делает перехват. Маколы. Кливленд! Забивает сверху через Данилу Бакадяева.
So that was your dunk against Astana, I'm pretty sure it was. The club, which I think they're dissolved now. They're not in the league anymore, right?
Yeah, that was awful last year. So I think now they only play in Kazakhstan.
Yeah, right. Okay. Like, side fact, everyone, TJ Starks, who played for Tasmania, he played for Astana. I don't think he was playing during the time when
he was hurt.
Posterized his new teammate. But when you dunk like that, you say you're old, you're 31, and then that was in April, I'm pretty sure, this year. And do you try as much as you can to posterize people when you're going in lanes like
that? Yeah, for the most part. That one was I kind of took off a little far off that one, off 2 feet too. So that was like a little different one in my repertoire. I never really took off that far, I guess. But when I made it, when I connected and made it, I was like, holy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was a little bit shocked, like, I did it. And I was geeky because, playing a game like that against a team that's really not that good, you got to like find motivation. And that kind of helped me feel like, okay, yeah, I'm here tonight. But, I just took off from really far, but I was glad that I connected it. So, that was fun. Definitely one of my favorite dunks.
I think you scored 22 points that game, and that was on the back of an assist to Gier throwing the ball behind his head and doing it. So, like, it's just crazy connection. I love it. So we'll go. This is where I think your best. Tell me if this is your favorite dunk. I'll play another clip. This is when you were at Adelaide, and unfortunately Mason Peatling was on the end of this one. There was no sound for this one, but we'll just watch it anyway.
Okay, I didn't know which one you would show.
So you split it, and then bang, and that was, I think, the dunk of the year number 6 for that season. So I think this one, compared to the one where you did with Lokomotiv, I find it a bit more impressive because of the way you split the D, got past Isaac Humphries, and then obviously Mason Peatling copped the wrath of your dunk. So would you, compared to that one and the Russian one, would you say which one is your more favorite dunk?
Probably that one, because I look real elite splitting that ball screen. I look kind of like, so I'll probably say that one. I forgot about that one. So yeah, that one. And the timing. That Astana game was, I think it was like kind of like a blowout. But with that game right there, we were down. So that was like kind of like a big play. And I got the foul. So I got to like take my time and, be in the moment, hear some chirp from the fans. So I think, I forgot about that one. But shout out to Mason Peatling, yeah. Got him right there.
We got two more segments to go. I was going to get some fan questions, so I just sent some messages out to people, and they asked some questions, and you're just going to have to quickly answer them. It's easy. The first one is from Zach Pearson. So he says, your favorite player for you to go up against when you were in the NBL?
Probably say Sean Bruce.
Wow, really?
Yeah, as far as the banter,
Okay, right.
Yeah, we all know Sean likes to talk, and so do I, kind of. So it was fun to go up against him. From a talent standpoint and accepting the challenge, obviously Bryce Cotton. He's a tough cover. But I love when we play the Kings, how, Bruce would come in the game, I'd look at him, and he just always had something to say, and so did I. So I really enjoyed that. And after my second year, I got kind of really know Bruce, and I was just respecting him more for like bringing that edge to his team every night. So Bruce was kind of like my favorite to go against, just because I know I can always get him to talk and get some banter out of him, and I feed off that sometimes. I really enjoy it.
See, that's good because you're obviously a player who feeds off that, and I wonder, when new imports come into the league and they are introduced to Sean Bruce for the first time, they're not aware of it, because I don't know if you remember last year, Freddie Gillespie headbutted him, and I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure he was not used to the words Sean Bruce was saying. A question I want to ask is, because you said you follow the league quite a bit, when Cotton signed with Adelaide 36ers, were you shocked about that?
I was kind of shocked, obviously, because he had been in Perth for so long. But if it was any club for him to go to in the NBL, I think Adelaide makes so much sense with their resources and their sellout crowd. I think that made the most sense. I just was shocked because I just knew that he was probably going to Japan, or I didn't think he would stay in the league. I was more so shocked that he stayed in the league, but I wasn't shocked that he signed to Adelaide, because when you think about, I think Adelaide is right there with Perth when you think about everything now, like the crowds, resources, financially, like getting a big deal done. Adelaide looks like they can do whatever. So I wasn't shocked that it was Adelaide. I was more so shocked that I thought he was going to Japan with his old coach or whatnot. I think I got the information from you, honestly. I don't know why. Maybe I thought that. So
Yes, it was
shocked.
He was heavily linked when he was with Puerto Rico. He was going to go to Chiba Jets with Trevor Gleeson. And then in like a 3-day span, the deal just happened with Adelaide, and they got it done. It was like the most wild signing I've ever seen. So we'll go with the second question. So this is from a lot of people ask this question, so I'll just put it under NBL fans. So they're saying, would you ever return to the NBL or the Adelaide 36ers?
I want to. I want to return to the NBL, and I want to return to the 36ers. I don't know. It's between, if I was to return, I would want to return to Adelaide or Illawarra. Those are the two teams I played for. Great fans. But I love when we visit. I love playing against Melbourne teams. I always make sure, get out and do something, have a meal or whatnot. Melbourne's a great city, so I don't want to cut off the other 8 teams. But I only can speak on my experience, and Adelaide and the Gong was 2 great organizations. So especially the fans, man. So definitely want to return. It's definitely a possibility. It's always been on my to-do list since I left. It just, plans on how everything plays out.
This is actually an interesting question. So this is from Mitchell Robertson. He says, what percentage of the defense do you think is mentality versus effort or skill?
I think it's 70% effort.
Yeah.
And I think defensively, when you talk about skill defensively, it's more so, like instincts and athleticism. Because it really doesn't take too much skill to run through a screen or slide your feet, kind of. But you can also bring little things and tricks that you learn, and that's what I do. It's ways that I know how to steal the ball. I got little knacks that I do. So I think it's 70% effort, because if you really don't want to defend, it's going to be hard to even showcase anything, skill wise. So I think 70% effort, 30% skill. And that's a great question about Mitchell Robinson right there.
Do you find it, and now I get this because when I speak to a lot of imports, they actually say when they come to Australia and play in the NBL league, that it's the English speaking that's a big it's attracted to them as well. But like, I never think about this, but in a game when, you mentioned before with Sean Bruce, you like chatting to players and getting in their heads a bit and just having a bit of barking at each other. Do you find it difficult when there's like a large portion of players in your league speak Russian, but a lot of them would obviously speak English, but Do you find that difficult?
Uh, Sometimes, as far as the players, mainly all the players are always going to speak, English. It's the day to day, like when you go out to eat and you
Yeah.
need an English menu. That's the part that gets you. But as far from a player standpoint, some people in English may be a little broken, but for the most part, you understand. You can't understand what they're saying, and that's kind of like something that is different as well. Like you can't, and like in the NBA, I can't see two teammates have a conversation in front of me about what they're going to do and me not know. Like they can't say, "Hey, when I come back down, try to see if you can backdoor AC." Like I hear that, but over here, sometimes I wonder, like, what did you just tell him? Because that so that's the kind of part that I think about for the
Yeah.
most part. And then if I say something in English, they switch off to their English language and then they respond. But for the most part, they just said something in Russian that I don't know, and it's probably got to do something to do with what they're trying to do on me or basketball wise. So in the NBL, that can happen, unless you get two foreign guys or something. But for the most part, that's like kind of the difference. But the players understand you. You just can't understand them at times. You kind of want to, but as far as talking to you one on one, everyone speaks English in the league.
Yeah, nice. All right, we're going to go to our last segment here. So this is just, so you mentioned previous times you do follow the league. So I just want to get your take on two previous teams you played for, and they're literally at the polar opposites on the standings right now. So we'll start off with the Illawarra Hawks, who, they won this championship last season, and now they've come in with a fresh new team, JaVale McGee, QJ Peterson's playing well. So what do you think? What do you think the reason is for their poor start to the season? Do you think this is a championship hangover and a roster reset? Because they lost Trey Cal, Darius Days, and a lot of players like that, and Frolling's out injured. So do you think that's obviously a main factor to how their season's going so far?
Obviously, you can't when you miss out on a local talent like Sam. It's going to set you back a little bit. It's tough. And Will Hickey had the eye injury to start the year, so that's probably two of their best players going into the year. I mean, you knew Sam did his Achilles. You knew you was going to be without him. The Hickey situation probably caught him off guard, and Hickey does so much for him. Like you can see, I think he's averaging like 15, 8, and 8. Like so, it's hard to prepare for that. And he missed quite a few games too. I think he missed like the first 5, 6, and they probably was
Yeah.
like 0-6 or 1-5. So that's tough when you miss out on two players like that. So I don't really think it's them winning the championship, getting off to a slow start. I just think injuries kind of, cut. I think if they had Hickey to start the year, they're sitting at least fourth place right now instead of, seventh, eighth. So I think that kind of set them back. And they didn't even have a third import. Like they finally signed some. Well, they had McLaurin, I guess, but I guess they went into that situation not even knowing if he was the guy. So which is kind of weird. And then they brought in, Peterson. So I just think that they're kind of off to a slow start, but don't I think they will get in. I don't want to see them at 6 if I'm other teams because I think they have enough firepower to, get it going. It's just about on a matter of when. We was in the same situation. We was losing games in NBL 23, I think, and we
Yeah.
got hot. We got hot right at a good moment. So I think they will find their stride and run off like 3, 4 in a row. All the teams do it. I'm not counting them out. It's more so I'm just waiting for this run to start from them because Tatum is a great coach, Tyler, the great leader, and I'm biased, but I do feel like they're gonna get it going.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with you. I think the second half of the season they're going to start finding their identity a bit and get some wins on the
Mhm.
board. So now we'll quickly move to Adelaide 36ers. This is the last team he played for. They're coming off last season, which was pretty, a lot of drama
A lot of
with
drama,
Trez and a lot of drama.
love and
Trez
hip
and
hop.
Kendrick. Yeah. So, what was your take? Like, we'll quickly, I want your take on like the Trez and Kendrick. It turned like they did not like each other.
Yeah,
It's out in the open now. And there was a lot of locker room drama, but the fact that they managed to make the play-ins now it's a year later, and they're a completely different team, new identity, new DNA, new players. I think Bryce Cotton provides a lot of maturity and just
yeah.
demands a lot of professionalism in the locker room, and it shows. They're 11-3, sitting second on the ladder. So for you, how do you think this team's going? Where do you think they're going to end up? And then I would like your prediction for MVP and championship.
I think they are doing well right now. I think Troy Brown, I don't really know much. Well, I know who he is because he was an NBA player for so long, but I really haven't dived into his play style recently. But I feel like he's a player who plays the right way. And when you can put a guy like that next to Cotton, that can be great because Cheatham is like that. Cheatham plays the right way. He does all the intangibles. So that's always a great kind of person you want to put around Cotton with some shooting, which they have with DJ. So I see them finishing, I see them staying in the top two. I think with the way they're playing, I think they've already found their stride kind of. And it's just about, finding some consistency versus the rest of the teams who are trying to, continue to string about 2, 3 in a row. So I do see them finishing top two. Of course, Bryce Cotton, you can just put MVP on his name right now. I don't see anyone winning it over him with their success and what he's doing still. And I think that he is getting credit for how he's passing the ball. I think maybe he's averaging a career high in assists. So it's like, all right, just give him the MVP. Let's talk about other awards. As far as the championship, the championship is so hard in the NBL because obviously Melbourne is always number one, but they don't always get it done. So it's
No.
hard to just, no disrespect to Dean, but it's just hard to be like, oh yeah, Melbourne. I don't know. They kind of give me that feeling of like they just show you how good the league is because they can be on the top of the ladder all year and they can be in a dogfight come February. So I don't want to just say that I think they're the favorites. I think that they are one of the favorites with them at Adelaide. But Phoenix is good, man. Phoenix is good. Perth is Perth. You can't count them out. And I'm still not counting on Illawarra, bro. Like, I don't know. It's just like I said, I could be biased, but I just feel like they have some championship DNA in them, obviously, but I can't count them out either. So I don't really know who will take it. That's kind of like a wuss answer by me. But
That's fine. That's fine.
I don't really know. Like I don't know. If I had to put my some money on it, so if I had to put some money on it, which I do not indulge in gambling at all, but I probably will go with I'll go with Adelaide right now just because it's Bryce Cotton and I just he has the championship experience, live for the big games. DJ has championships. And they just they have a good cast, man. I love how Cheatham is playing, how he complements Humphreys as well. So I think with them bringing Brown, they have a defender. So I would say Adelaide. If I would say Adelaide first, and then Illawarra would be my dark horse.
Right, okay. Illawarra's dark horse is a good one. I think Big Source, Alan Williams, he chose Adelaide to win the championship as well. So now we've got 2 out of 3 NBL alumni who are backing the Adelaide 36ers. But that is the end of the show, obviously, now, everyone. So thank you so much, Antonious, for joining us. Everyone would like to before I ask the imports before we end the episode, just give one little message to the fans and stuff, because even though you have been out of the league for 2 seasons, your name comes up a lot. And people would love to see you back in Australia, and hopefully one day in the future, in NBL 28, 29, who knows? You're only 31, so don't stress. We will see you back in the league. So just give us one last message to the fans, and then we'll get into the episode there.
I hope to, reconnect with you all, especially the Tasmanian fans. Can't wait to come there. Hopefully y'all don't boo me this time. But it's a great league, and Australians are great people, man. And basketball is growing, and I will always be a fan as long as you leave it on YouTube, so it's accessible and free for me to watch. But I miss the league. The league is great, and you all definitely have a gold mine there with the NBL. I think everyone loves it. Everyone wants to play there. And you all, as fans, as people, you all deserve it, man. You all love your hoops, and you're great people, and your country is great as well. And that's the main thing I miss is just being down under. It's just a great place to call home.
Thanks, mate. So that was Antonious Cleveland, everyone, the former Adelaide 36 Illawarra Hawk and back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year for the NBL Alumni episode 3. So next episode, we've got another import coming in. I won't reveal who it is yet, but until next time, have a good one.